it's nice to be with you all today, and it's starting to feel less like a conference and more like a gathering of sisters and a gathering of friends. I welcome you all again this morning, and I welcome the new faces in our midst, guests who are supporting us today, new speakers, and new panelists. Dr. Elsie Scott, whose yes was immediate when we invited her to come on board. Dr. Mary Chinere Hesse, whose resume reads like a really, really good book. Welcome. Is Madam Sese here? Hasn't arrived yet? Okay. Yes, so I welcome you all, and I would just like to salute the women who are here. They are drawn from about 22 countries in Africa. So even though our numbers seem small today, this is an extremely significant gathering. And this is so in particular because yesterday what I came to find is that each woman here in her own capacity can deliver a keynote address. Your stories, one of the special moments for me yesterday was when my sister mentioned how difficult it was at a time to even be accredited to attend AU meetings or OAU meetings, and how that is beginning to change. That moment crystallized for me what it is that we're doing here and what it is that we hope to achieve. So for all of you who have come with your stories, my sisters, I salute you. The truth is, it takes a village, and this is, an age-old saying that it takes a village. It takes a village to push out a sound, and in doing so, it behoves us to look behind, and when we use that term in its right format, it takes a village to raise a child, then I look to the students who are here today, and may I ask you again to please stand. Yesterday, I heard a term spoken by Pastor Moses, who is here with us from Nigeria, a gentleman who's supporting the women in the house. And the term he used was born free, or raised free. Yes, raised free. It is a privilege to be raised free, free from the preconceptions, free from the cultural barriers that have held us back before us women, free from what religion has told us. And so as we look to succession, our aim is to raise these women, these ladies, these students in our midst, representing 5 African countries, to raise them free. Free to run for elective office in their time, free to stand for appointed office in their time, to stand and to stand tall and to do it well. Yesterday was a brilliant day for me, a learning experience, as we heard from several different speakers. We were graced by a veteran of Black politics in the United Kingdom, Baroness Howell. And that showed me, and I'm sure others here, that it's never too late to start, that we must press on, and like this graceful 82-year-old matriarch, we will finish, and we will finish well. We heard the CEO of UBA Europe tell us that it's simply not enough to run for office or to get involved in government and politics, but more than that, we are responsible for good governance when we find ourselves in those offices. And we heard more encouraging words from Reverend Nims. MBE? Yes. And then we moved to this venue after that, the grandiose of the House of Commons. We moved to this venue, and Simon Woolley, the president of One Black Vote, told us how at some point in the past, One Black Vote had convened 3,000 voices in this same building. and how those voices brought tremendous change. But I think most significant about what he said that spoke to me reminded me of a young black man 5.5 years ago who described himself as a skinny chap with a funny name and who ran for office and brought to the world the slogan, "Yes, we can." In the words of Simon Woolley yesterday, the slogan takes a slightly different format when we say, "What can we do?" Because this is the question that he left with every woman in the building. And then we heard from Dr. Dere Awashika, seasoned civil servant from Nigeria. And she made it extremely practical in telling us that we must, as a matter of course, advocate for practical solutions for women who are employed by the civil service. Solutions that help us to divide our time equally and equitably between the work that we do and between what is so important to every woman, family, and the breakout sessions. Mark, I walked into each of those rooms. The energy was palpable. By the time the Archbishop took the podium and broke down exactly what we were to expect from the sessions, I could see the wheels in the heads of my sisters turning. And every time I peeped into a room, the ideas were flowing. And so I'm really excited today, because at the end of today, the signatures here will be affixed to a document. And believe me, I am charged enough to know for certain that that document will make its way to the heads of government of every country in the continent of Africa. I will go back to It Takes a Village for one moment. I had a lot of support when putting together this program from my personal village. And by my personal village, I refer to my family by blood. I will speak first of my mother, who at the time when she was the president of the National Council of Women's Societies, an umbrella body for all women's societies in Nigeria, they began to advocate for a Ministry of Women's Affairs. And in that time, the Ministry of Women's Affairs was born. And then there is my late father, His Royal Majesty, the Ogbotome Dede of the Epia Tissa clan in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria, who raised his 4 daughters and 2 sons, and he raised them free. And it is because of that sense of freedom that one can tackle a cause such as this. One of my siblings is seated here today. I actually have 3 in the room. When I sent her a text, it wasn't even a phone call, and I told her of this event, her response was, when and where? Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Osio Agama, herself a seasoned librarian, and whose work in the near future is to get books to all the communities in the Niger Delta so that the next generation can read and read well. There was a calm voice throughout the time that this was being planned. Every time I was slightly agitated, and I picked up the phone or I sent a BB message, I got a response that enabled me to be calm. And that was the voice of the lead facilitator for this program, my eldest brother, Archbishop Doye Agama. Yesterday, Simon Woolley described him in the only words that I myself can use today, a good man. There is a lady in our midst who has been described in many ways in the last couple of years. As, like many here, a first and a first, over and over and over again. But I think the best words that I've ever heard used to describe her were at a conference in Oxford earlier on this year, when a gentleman, a professor speaking, said that if there was a glass ceiling, Mrs. Desani Alison Madueke, my older sister, simply did not notice. This is true of her. And my sisters, may I say this, should be true for every one of us. Welcome to another exciting day, and I'm truly looking forward to this.